You didn't mean to wander off from the group, but the house seemed to pull you deeper with every step. The air grows colder the closer you move to the old staircase, your skin pricking as if unseen eyes are crawling over you. The wood groans underfoot, a sound far too heavy for your weight alone. You pause. Somewhere above, faint footsteps echo, deliberate, slow, as though someone is pacing the landing. You tell yourself it's another visitor, but when you look up, no one is there. And then, just for a second, you swear you see her, a figure in a headscarf, half hidden in the shadows, watching. She flickers, there, then gone, like the room itself is exhaling her out of existence. Your heart pounds. Was it imagination, or did you just come face to face with Chloe, the most infamous ghost of the Myrtle Plantation? The Myrtles has been called one of the most haunted houses in America, but behind the chilling encounters and whispered ghost story lies something far darker, a past soaked in tragedy, suffering, and secrets the walls refuse to keep quiet. In this journey, you'll step inside the Myrtles as if you were walking its hallways yourself. You'll hear the stories behind the legends, uncover the real history of the people who lived and died here, and explore the architecture, the mysteries that make this plantation unforgettable. Expect first-hand accounts, historical revelations, and yes, encounters that have been reported by real visitors, all presented in a way that will make you feel as if you're right there, heart pounding, waiting for the next whisper. If you love the darker, creepier side of history, consider hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and joining the INSOMNICULT. Together we're chasing shadows and mysteries, and we're aiming to reach 100 subscribers to make this community even stronger. Stick around, and the secrets of the Myrtles are just beginning to unfold. And to understand why this place refuses to let its ghosts rest, we need to step back in time, to the people who built it, the lives that ended within it, and the history that laid the foundation for every haunting reported here. The Myrtles Plantation rises from the quiet Louisiana soil, its sweeping veranda and moss-draped oaks painting a picture of southern grandeur. But beauty here is a mask, one that hides a story steeped in pain. The house was built in 1796 by General David Bradford, a man fleeing charges of treason after the Whiskey Rebellion. For him, the plantation was a refuge, but for the enslaved people forced to labour on its grounds, it was a prison without walls. Their stories were rarely written, yet their suffering became part of the very framework of the home. Ownership passed through generations, and with it came tragedy. Illness swept through the household more than once, claiming children and adults alike. Local records speak of mysterious deaths, sudden illnesses, and heartbreaks that seemed to stalk every family who dared to call the Myrtles home. Some claim this constant cycle of loss left an imprint on the land itself, an energy that refuses to fade, replaying itself like a needle stuck in the grooves of a warped record. Visitors say you don't just see history here, you feel it, pressing against your chest, whispering in the silence. But if history carved the stage, it's the legends that keep the Myrtles alive in our nightmares, and one story, more than any other, transformed this plantation into a ghost hunter's pilgrimage. You can almost hear her before you see her, the soft shuffle of slippers across polished floors, the faint rustle of a skirt, a whisper too low to catch but impossible to ignore. They call her Chloe, though no one alive seems to know if that was ever truly her name. Some say she was an enslaved woman who endured harsh treatment and strict punishments, her anger and sorrow frozen in the house's very walls. Stories say that one day something went terribly wrong in the household, and Chloe, resentful, desperate, or simply caught in the cruelty of the times, may have attempted a subtle act of revenge. Some versions of the tale whisper about a poisoned treat left for the family, though the truth is impossible to confirm. What's certain is that the legend grew from a combination of fear, injustice, and tragedy, colouring every shadow and creaking floorboard in the house. Visitors report cold spots where she pauses, faint cries in the dead of night, and glimpses in mirrors that vanish the moment you blink. Even if the historical records does not fully confirm these events, standing alone in these long hallways, the flicker of movement in the corner of your eye feels painfully real. The story lingers because it touches something older than proof, the echoes of suffering, injustice, and human cruelty that can persist long after our lives are gone. But Chloe is just one whisper. Beyond her, the Myrtles' houses are a chorus of unseen residents, and the tales of their presence only grow darker. To understand why these legends persist, we need to explore the paranormal encounters and eyewitness testimonies that keep visitors returning night after night. You step into a dimly lit parlour, your fingers brushing against the cold banister. The air feels heavier here, as if the room itself is holding its breath, and then you hear it. Soft, deliberate footsteps behind you. You whirl around, heart hammering, but the space is empty. Visitors to the Myrtles have told similar stories, whispers in empty rooms, doors that slam without cause, shadows moving across the flicker of candlelight. Some swear that children's laughter echoes faintly down the hallways, a chilling reminder that lives were cut too short long ago. Others speak of objects that move on their own, books sliding from shelves, chairs nudged as if by invisible hands. And then there's the photograph, the infamous image often shown in documentaries, a small figure in green, face obscured, standing in the parlour. Skeptics debate its origin, but the intrigue endures. Paranormal investigators armed with EMF detectors, thermal cameras and audio recorders have captured fleeting anomalies, temperature drops, unexplained noises, fleeting shadows, but nothing conclusive. You realise then that the fear here isn't just about ghosts. It's the weight of history pressing down on the present, the knowledge that lives were lived, lost and sometimes erased, but their echoes remain. These disturbances, both seen and felt, didn't emerge from nowhere. They grew from stories told, retold and amplified over generations. To understand why the Myrtles legends hold such grip over our imagination, we need to look at how the myths began and why they persist. The stories didn't start with Chloe. They began in whispers, passed from visitor to visitor, each retelling a little darker, a little sharper. Newspapers in the 20th centuries loved it. The haunted house with 10 murders made for irresistible headlines, even if the facts were far less sensational. Tour guides leaned into the fear, the mystery, the thrill. Every shadow in the hallway, every creaking floorboard became proof that the house remembered its past. Guests reported the same phenomena again and again, and each reputation wove the threads of legend tighter into the very walls. And yet, when you dig into historical records, a different story emerges. A handful of tragedies, a few sudden deaths, one verified murder, but nothing to match the exaggerated tales of mass poisoning or relentless bloodshed. Still, the myth persists, because they feed a universal fascination, the desire to glimpse something unseen, to feel the weight of history, to confront what we can't explain. Even as skepticism grows, visitors continue to flock here, drawn by the darkness, by curiosity, by a lingering fear that perhaps some corners of our past refuse to be forgotten. The legends alone aren't enough to make the Myrtles unforgettable. It's the combination of history, architecture, and lingering energy that keeps the house alive in our nightmares. And to understand that, we must step deeper into the house itself and its complex legacy. The Myrtles isn't just a house, it's a labyrinth of hidden hallways, secret doors, and a detached kitchen built for fire safety, but now adding to the sense of isolation. Each room seems to whisper, every long corridor a stage for unseen performances. Even the mirrors are suspect. Visitors swear they catch glimpses of someone standing just behind, fading when you turn too quickly. But the true weight lies in its history. The walls were built by enslaved hands, the rooms once filled with the labour, laughter and suffering of people whose names often vanish from the records. Bedrooms where children died too young, halls where servants moved silently. These spaces hold memories of lives interrupted and of pain etched into the very timber. the house itself seems alive, not with spirits alone, but with the echoes of its past. Layered over the ornate architecture and polished floors, it's a place where beauty and tragedy collide, and where the physical space feeds the fear, making every step a negotiation with history itself. Myrtle's grandeur and its stories are inseparable, but the tales of ghosts and unexplained phenomena only make sense when viewed alongside the people who lived and died here. Next, we'll explore the ethical and cultural impact of a plantation that markets both its history and hauntings. If you were to walk the veranda, the Spanish moss swaying like silent sentinels, you would realise the Myrtles is more than walls and wood. It's a story still being written. The house draws thousands each year, visitors hungry for glimpses of the supernatural, for chills down their spine, for the thrill of standing where history met tragedy. But there's a cost. The plantation's dark past, its ties to slavery, the lives of the people who built and maintained it. It's the very foundation of the stories that sell tickets. Every haunted tour walks a fine line, entertaining and eerie, yet rooted in the suffering of real people. Modern caretakers strive to acknowledge this history, but the legends are seductive and the myths are profitable. Culturally, the Myrtles has become an icon. Documentaries, TV shows, books and travel guides all capitalise on the allure of the haunted South. Yet beneath the paranormal glamour lies a sobering truth. The house is a monument to lives lost, to cruelty, to grief that refuses to fade. The thrill you feel as you enter isn't just fear, it's the echo of generations who never truly left. Legends, architecture and tragedies converge here, but what keeps people returning isn't the stories. It's the human fascination with the unknown. Next, we'll explore why the Myrtles continues to grip our imagination and how you can become a visitor and become part of its enduring legacy. The Myrtles Plantation isn't just a house you visit, it's a place you can sleep in, explore and feel history pressing around you. As a bed and breakfast, its rooms are filled with the same period furnishings, hallways echoing the footsteps of the past, and windows framing the moss-draped oaks that have watched centuries unfold. Staying here means you don't just hear the stories, you become part of them. Every shadow you glimpse, every creaking floorboard, every chill in the air adds to the enduring legacy of the Myrtles. The legends persist not simply because they frighten, but because they draw people like you into the story. Visitors and overnight guests report glimpses of figures, sudden cold spots and whispers that seem to follow them from room to room. The house thrives on attention, and each experience keeps its mystery alive, weaving new threads into a tapestry of sorrow, intrigue and fascination. So what about you? If you stayed at the Myrtles, would you dare spend the night alone in the rooms rumoured to hold Chloe and the other unseen residents? Or would you leave at the first sign of a shadow moving where it shouldn't be? Tell us in the comments below, would you spend a night by yourself, alone in the Myrtles at night?